guys, Bobby Hughes here with Heritage Pride Custom Firearms, and I'm back to bring you a video today on the results of the, or what I took away from the LEAPCON, long-term emergency prepper conference down in Columbia, South Carolina. It was pretty cool. There was probably, if I had to guess, I don't have an official count, but if I had to guess, I'd say probably 500 people were there. We had speakers, Southern Prepper 1, Engineer 775, Skinny Medic, and Michael Hawk from Discovery Channel. Everybody had their own kind of thing, but I took away a little bit from everybody, which was cool. It was neat. I got to meet a lot of people. It was my first time meeting Engineer 775, Southern Prepper 1, Skinny Medic. It was my first time meeting any of them. And then I met a lot of cool vendors and other people. It was really neat. It was a good experience. Kind of the topics that we talked on was nuclear, the probability of nuclear attacks and what that means. And that was really a wealth of knowledge for me. I never really took seriously the fact that there's so many countries with nukes. You know, it's always in the back of your mind. You know it's there, but you don't really think about it, I guess. And so that really gave me something to think about. And then, you know, I got a fresh look at EMPs, and EMPs are something that I haven't really prepped for. You know, I don't have any Faraday bags or cages or anything like that, and so that really opened my eyes a lot too. And what really, you know, I guess the biggest thing I took away from it is that I always thought of an EMP, electromagnetic pulse, as something that comes via solar flares or something from outer space, and I guess that's a real threat. But more so than anything, I thought about, or David, Southern Prepper 1, brought to light EMP via a nuclear attack. And even if the nuclear missile or nuclear bomb or whatever isn't set off, isn't detonated on Earth, the shock wave through the atmosphere causes basically an EMP. So I never really thought of that. So that really opened my eyes there and gave me something to think about. So, and then I think with the knowledge that I took away from that, we will start to prep for nuclear fallout and EMPs. So it's just something to add to the list of things to prep for. You guys know me, I prep for real life, you know, everyday scenario type stuff. But, you know, in being prepared for that, we need to prepare for other things that could happen, you know. And you guys have probably seen my videos on the nuclear attack, or on economic collapse and things like that. So for me, this is just an added extra. And when you've established basic preparations, you know, it's not that hard to add a subject or a scenario to your preps. For us, for the nuclear and EMP attacks, I'm going to build a Faraday cage and start working on alternate energy a little bit more seriously, and also the radioactive preparations as far as how to you know, resist that radioactive material. So we talked about that. Of course, we talked about food storage a little bit. We mainly talked about water, water storage, alternate water sources, alternate energy via solar and you know, hydroelectric, different things like that, wind. So that was pretty cool. And then of course Skinny Medic taught on the medical stuff. And I have to admit, I really went into it thinking I'd probably get the least amount of information from Skinny Medic. I used to be an EMT. You know, we've got extensive medical preps, but I really learned a lot. He gave a class on called Prepper Pharmacy, and I really learned a lot about medications, prepping medications, storing medications, expired medications, all kinds of different stuff, and that was really cool. And you know, he pointed out something that's definitely a reality for most preppers. You know, you're 10 times more likely to save someone's life medically with the right medical supplies and training than you are to save somebody's life with a gun. And you know, when we think of prepping, most of us think, oh, the more guns the merrier, you know, and so we stock all this ammo and guns and everything, and in all reality, medical gets overlooked. And I'm not going to say that medical is completely overlooked in our preps. We have a lot of it. Both myself and my wife have worked in the medical field, and we're trained in medical stuff. So I'm not going to say it's overlooked, but it isn't made a priority really. And so now I'm really going to start focusing on that. So it was a good conference. And like I said, it was good information. It was fun getting to meet everyone, getting to meet all the guys and gals, and also the vendors. It was just a really cool time. So one thing I want to point out, and this is something that has kind of been gnawing at me a little bit. Michael Hawk did a presentation on defending your property and home, and I don't want to talk bad about anyone. I'm not talking bad about him. I'm sure he's a busy guy, but he was probably the least prepared in his presentation as anyone. I think he takes it seriously because of his background in the military, but I don't really know. I just didn't get a good read from him, and he just seemed a little unprepared. But one of the things that he did was, I guess maybe he went on Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or something and posted that he was going to be at this event, and that what did people want to hear him talk about. And so people gave him a bunch of questions, and basically he just went up there and he answered the questions. And I'm not going to say I didn't take anything away from him. I did. I learned a little bit about shortwave radios, which was really cool. I guess he's a huge commo guy, which is neat, and that's something that I need to focus on in our preps as well, is a little bit more commo. So I learned, but somebody asked one of the questions, I don't remember the question verbatim, but one of the questions was, what would you do in a scenario like Katrina, where the government came to the door and started taking your guns away, or asked for your guns, or asked to search your home for guns, or whatever? So when he read that question, I thought instantly, this is going to be good. Let's see how he's leaning based on his military experience. And you know, he is retired, but he's still in with the government, so he can't necessarily talk bad about the government, I guess. But he said, you have to realize that constitutionally martial law is accepted, or is acceptable, and it was martial law, and they do have the right to come in and take your guns and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And then he made some comment about he would give him one of his old rusty guns and say that that's his only gun and whatever. And I disagree with that. Constitution does not say anything about martial law. Martial law is not and will never be constitutional. Now, there is habeas corpus, which is in Section 1, Article 9, I think, if I remember correctly. Basically, what habeas corpus is a citizen can be detained during a terrorist attack or a threat or an invasion or something like that, and held for public safety, but then has to be released, obviously. But let me set this straight. Like, there is no chance that you're going to try to convince me that a president can declare martial law and then all my rights go away. Now, Bush did some crazy stuff when he introduced the Patriot Act, which took away a lot of our rights during a terrorist attack or invasion or something like that, and relabeled it, redefined terrorism and domestic terrorism and so on and so forth. So with that, we are kind of screwed on some things. But for the most part, you know, well, not for the most part, totally, there's no way that you can take away a citizen's rights. The Second Amendment, or any of the amendments, the Bill of Rights, they still supersede any government, presidential, anything, any type of government order. They still supersede that. So no matter the circumstance, no matter what the scenario is, no matter what happens, no matter what natural disaster or whatever, you still have your rights as a citizen. You still have the Bill of Rights that protect you, and we're still protected under the Constitution. So the nature in which we live in today is very much so a police state. It's very much so a militarized government and law enforcement. You know, they say the military is not allowed on U.S. soil to work or be deployed on U.S. soil. The military is not. But if you militarize your law enforcement agencies and things like that, then you've basically just found a loophole to deploy military on the streets of America. And so that's kind of where we stand with it. But anyway, like I said, I'm not talking bad about him. I once was also ignorant about a lot of things in the Constitution, and maybe he just misunderstood, or maybe he was trying to beat around the bush and play the political game to keep from upsetting someone in the government or whatever. But anyway, so like I said, I just wanted to kind of touch on what the conference was like. I took away a lot of good information, and it was really cool. One thing that I really took away from the conference, one thing that I really want to start focusing on as a big goal, not as a immediate goal, but as a near future goal, or something to start working towards, is I want to get our homestead on 100% rainwater. Listening to Scott, or Engineer 775, talk about using rainwater and things like that, and I got to talk to him one-on-one about it and try to get some of the engineering side of it down. And one thing that I really want to make a goal here at the homestead is I want to run our home 100% on rainwater. It's very doable, and like I said, it's something that I'm going to start working towards. Anyway, there's some other things that I took away from it that we'll start implementing. But right now, with summer being here, right around the corner, gardening and the greenhouse are #1 priorities. And getting these stinky chickens out of my garage and into a coop, that's also a priority. So anyway, alright guys, well, that's pretty much it for this video. Like I said, just wanted to do a little update video on LEAPCON and talk about the experience there. It was cool. If you didn't get to come, I hate it for you that you didn't get to come. It was neat. Like I said, met a lot of people. I'm sure maybe I'll have some new viewers now, and if you are a new viewer, new subscriber, I'll talk to you down there. It was a pleasure meeting you, and welcome to the HP Firearms channel. So anyway guys, until next time, get out there, shoot some guns, be safe, and most importantly, have fun. See you guys later.